A commander transporting dangerous prisoners arrives at the plane. They are all transferred to the plane, but only one prisoner is special, Havelock. He wore extra chains and a mask with goggles, so no one would know who exactly was being transported. He was even assigned 2 personal guards. A little later, Havelock quietly pulled out his tooth, which contained a master key, and slowly began picking the lock, when suddenly there was an explosion. The engine fails. The pilots immediately request an emergency landing, while the prisoner count is methodically reduced. One of them steals the keys from a guard, but is sucked into the hole. Havelock had managed to take his keys before this. The guards see him free and try to apprehend him, but he easily fends off several guards at once. The rear flaps fail, sending everyone flying toward the ceiling. The fugitive, clinging to his seat, crawls toward the pilots, but it's too late. The plane crashes in the wilderness. Thanks to the snow, the landing is relatively soft, and all the surviving prisoners escape. Frank, a federal marshal in Alaska, lives a normal life with his wife, Sarah, and son, Luke. Frank tells Sarah that he's been approved for the house they've always dreamed of. He plans to retire and start a quiet, safe life. At work, Jane tells Frank that the fire department called about some smoke in the mountains. They don't know where he's from and ask the police to fly there by helicopter and find out everything. Frank promises to check. They quickly find the downed helicopter. The marshals check the plane, but no one's there. Frank immediately realized from the chains that it had been used to transport prisoners. They see a living officer lying next to the plane. He warns them it's an ambush. A dozen prisoners emerge from the woods and attack the marshal. Frank is strong enough to fight them off, but another prisoner uses a knife, severely wounding Donnie. Frank grabs his gun and, with a few quick moves, eliminates the threat. The marshals drag Donnie back to the helicopter. Frank is forced to defend himself from the other prisoners. There are a lot of them. Frank spins from side to side, firing back, but a big guy charges at him and practically eliminates Frank. Luckily, another survivor helps him. However, due to his poor eyesight, he doesn't understand who exactly is walking in front of him. Frank helps him up and pulls the helicopter into place. When all the marshals are on board, Fred, the pilot, begins to take off. One of the prisoners tries to grab the helicopter, forcing Frank to show his soul. Meanwhile, Bradford receives word that their plane has crashed. She believes they've been discovered. She wants to implicate Schofield, since she was the one who created Havelock. Sometime later, Bradford tells Schofield that they captured Havelock in Russia and were secretly transporting him to Alaska. But someone learned of the plan. They don't have jurisdiction in that state, so Schofield shouldn't tell Frank too much. Schofield called Frank and asked him to establish a perimeter. This made him laugh. There's no perimeter in Alaska. The rescued officer tells Frank his story, describing the most dangerous prisoner, Havelock. The police set up a search camp, gathering all available information. At least 18 prisoners are considered missing. In a face-to-face meeting with Schofield, Havelock tries to understand why the CIA was handling the transport without the marshals knowing. She skillfully evades questions. Then Frank mentions Havelock's name, greatly surprising Schofield. If she wants to cooperate with him, she'll have to give up information. Schofield then reveals that 3 years ago, rumors began circulating about a mole who wanted to bring down the U.S. government from within. The truth is, this traitor wasn't dangerous. He was created by the CIA as part of a covert operation. The defectors were used as bait to target agents from other countries. One of them was Havelock. To revive the program, they had to make this mole as dangerous as possible. For the past 2 years, Havelock had been working perfectly, but a month ago he defected. The CIA caught him and wanted to return him to the country. But now his 9,000-kilometer escape is just the beginning. Frank is certain that someone is helping Havelock. They received word that something had happened at the weather base, located 30 kilometers from the crash site. Frank doesn't think the prisoner could have gotten there. But Schofield is certain that this isn't Havelock's business. When the police get there, they indeed find Havelock, attacking from hiding. Schofield orders Havelock eliminated, but Frank suggests he surrender and just talk. Then Schofield releases a dog, which neutralizes Havelock. Upon closer inspection, Schofield realized it wasn't Havelock. Upon returning to base, she checked the documents more thoroughly and realized the surviving officer wasn't an officer. Havelock had been with them all this time. Frank tried to warn Sarah, but Havelock had begun the next stage of his escape. When the marshals arrived at the hospital, Havelock and Sarah were missing. Frank blames Schofield. They could have shown him a photo of Havelock, and then he would have identified him. And now, because of their secrets, his wife is missing. From that moment on, they are no longer colleagues. Suddenly, Havelock starts talking through the police radios. He says Frank's wife is still alive, which means he owes him. He asks for a favor, become his contact, and together they will change the world. The next day, the family encounters one of the prisoners, Sickler. He breaks his prosthetic leg, where the money was hidden, and asks for help in exchange for the money. He only wants one thing, for them to take him to the police. As for the reasons for Havelock's capture, he managed to steal a top-secret document. It contains data on all their company's past and future targets, and if he publishes it, it will be disastrous. A search party from Seattle, led by Koval, has arrived to assist Frank. He will find out why Sickler surrendered without a fight. Havelock wasted no time. He understands Frank won't be returning home today, which is why he was hiding there. He even recorded Sarah's request, in which she conveys a request to find the prisoner from Site 12 and exchange him for her. This was Sickler. In the past, Sickler worked for any criminal organization. He not only worked for them, but also stole from them, for which he lost his hands. Frank wants to know from him how he knows Havelock, but he's not eager to cooperate. He has other plans, and he'll be gone by sundown. Sarah, tired of being held hostage, attacked Havelock herself, even stealing his gun. Havelock calmly approaches and takes the gun, knocking Sarah out. A little later, Frank takes a man posing as Sickler to the exchange point. But it was a trap. Havelock isn't there. He intercepted the car transporting the black box from the plane and left a gift for Frank, Sarah's keys in it. Tomorrow, one prisoner was captured, but a whole group was still operating in the forest, and they encountered Havelock. He pretended to be a tourist, leading to him being taken hostage. Luckily, there was a real tourist group nearby, which they also captured, and the police found the place where Sarah was being held and freed her. When the prisoners realized they were facing the man who had been in the bag on the plane, Havelock attacked and incapacitated them. To avoid being killed, God Guy offered to become their leader. He contacts Frank on the radio and says he gave Sarah up on purpose because Frank complied with his request and has a new password, Schofield's, for the raw account. If she doesn't give it up, he'll eliminate the hostages and shoot the prisoner to make them trust him. The police have figured out where the signal is coming from, and Frank has personally gone there. Havelock asks if Sarah knows about his secret in the basement. He might be able to help him. These words clearly surprised Frank. Havelock added that he had this secret, and it was well hidden. While they were talking, Schofield attached the car to a helicopter, which easily lifted it. The prisoners attempted to escape, but they were quickly captured. The helicopter placed the car at the right spot, where an armed detachment was waiting. But Havelock wasn't afraid of them, and literally threw the car off the ravine, where it smashed through the glass and escaped. But this is where the first part ends. If you want to know who was behind the plane crash and how the story ended, let us know in the comments and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the rest. We'll be back very soon. Bye.